Yes, that's right. It's what you've been depressed for. The Depression Chamber. I said it would happen, and here it is. Oh, is the cat abandoning me already? Nah, she's down there on the floor. You can barely see her. What is up, my fellow depressions? Oh, my beautiful kitty. We've got in the chat Bad Goy saying, "Howdy, my mum kigger." Eli thinks I'm looking snazzy. That's what a cheap suit jacket can do for you. Derek Hansen, Evan, TJ Sponge, Shrexy Guy, Numb Nut, DV, Corey, the man, the myth, the legend, Corey. Mingo, no, Florian did not submit a Depression Chamber story from Beyond the Grave, unfortunately. I think we could assume what it would say. Folks, listen, we're here to read some random Depression Chamber entries. Last episode 2 weeks ago, as you may recall, we read one story that lasted over 2 hours. It might be the new record holder. I have been in contact with that Depression Chamber author, and he has agreed to review Joker 2 with us approximately 2 weeks from today. So looking forward to that. Although he'll be recording with like a snowball microphone in a Wendy's parking lot using their Wi-Fi. Who knows how it's gonna sound? We might have to kick him off early, and that might lead to a whole new story. Mumkey, am I allowed here? I don't have depression anymore. People watch this show for a variety of reasons, so you don't need to be depressed. It's not necessarily a prerequisite. And here's something that I'm worried about, folks. For some reason, it looks like I might need to let my cat out. For some reason, let's call them the depressioners, the people who submit stories to me. For some reason, a lot of them submit the exact same thing fucking twice, or they make a mistake and they submit it again. And I don't always catch that, so we'll read a story, and then when I'm done reading it, I delete it so we don't read it again. But these dumb motherfuckers submitted it twice. So now I never know if I've already read one of these before. And I'm just clicking through them like, man, this sounds familiar. Did we already fucking do this one like a year ago? Jesus, fuck. So I'm worried I'm going to waste my time and all of your time reading the same shit again. So I guess I'll keep my eye on the chat. And if you guys recognize a story, let me know. It is very annoying. Balls Mahone for 2 said, "Wheel of Meth challenge. Each spin, you smoke meth." Okay, we'll get right on that. No Family Guy this time? No, I got a copyright strike for that. You can't even show a YouTube compilation of Family Guy anymore. It's bullshit. Other news on the Simian front. I did get a Discord friend request from one Digibro, so we'll see about that. Why did the alert box not pop up for that donation? That's annoying too. So annoying. Everything's annoying today. So let's take that misery out on some stories. Let's see. Have we read this one? It's called "Got Sent to a Special Ed School for Saying I Want to Blow Up My School." Maybe I should plug in my headphones. No, actually, I can't hear the music anyway. It's not playing through OBS. Fuck it. Put on Family Girl. I don't know if that's a real show. Okay. Let's hear about getting sent to special ed for trying to blow up the school. Hi, Mumkey. I've been a fan of your channels since 2017, but only started listening to Depression Chamber within the past year. I finally decided to write in my own story, so here's one I hope you'll get a kick out of. This story begins in the worst year of my life, 2018. I was in 8th grade and my depression was reaching its peak. I never did my homework, was a dick to my family, and often refused to go to school. I was also weirdly angry. Hey, that sounds like being 14. Maybe 13, he's about to say. I wanted to hurt people, and I don't know why. I was a 13-year-old edgelord, so I just thought all of this was cool and not a problem at all. To this day, I don't really know why I got like this, but it was probably the excessive meds I was on. There was one day in school when I locked myself in a bathroom stall and cried for the first 6 periods for no reason. People heard and asked if I was okay, but I wasn't sure if they knew it was me. I eventually gathered myself together and pretended I came in late for a doctor's visit. Cat's rolling around. I'm getting distracted by my own cat. The school never called my parents despite me not having a note, so to this day they don't know about it. Another time I threatened to make mustard gas in my basement and kill my family until my dad talked me down. If I'm the father in that situation, I don't know if that's a son I can remain living with. The cat adds so much. Yeah, it's got to be better than Family Guy, and certainly better than seeing me, playing this stream on the TV. This all culminated in late January of that year with me drinking bleach to try to kill myself. I regretted it afterwards and told my mom, who got my dad to take me to the hospital. I didn't drink enough to do any real damage, let alone kill me, but the intent was still there, and I got sent to the psych ward for the first time. It was mostly just a shit ton of group therapy, and they'd occasionally let us outside to what was essentially a prison yard. Better angle on the cat. She wants out. Get out. How do you like this? Get up. Suit jacket and gym shorts. And I'm blackety black and I'm black, y'all. Okay. Let's continue. Yeah, sorry that the cat had to go. I don't like it either. Okay. It was mostly just a shit ton of group therapy, and they'd occasionally let us outside to what was essentially a prison yard. There was also school in the basement where we didn't actually learn anything and just watched vaguely educational YouTube videos. Like riddles and stuff. I was released after a week and a half and returned to school, but my mindset wasn't much better. I told people I was sick with a bad flu and things were back to normal for a bit. This was until February 9th, 2018, when I made the biggest mistake of my life. While on a car ride, my brother asked what we would do if there was a school shooter. I don't remember my exact quote, but I ended up saying that if it happened, I would be the shooter. Okay. My mom got me to elaborate later, where I added that since we don't own a gun, I would bomb the school instead. I didn't mean that. I was an edgelord 13-year-old who thought violence was cool and was too stubborn to admit I didn't actually want to kill my classmates. Maybe I thought I meant it at the time, but I guarantee that if somebody gave me an opportunity to shoot up and or bomb my school, I wouldn't have done it. I also want to clarify that I never once said that I was going to bomb the school or that I had any plans to do so, just that I wanted to. I never threatened to do anything. Regardless, this got me a meeting with my school counselor and the principal. I don't remember what I said there, but they basically said that they took what I said seriously and had to take action. It was time for round 2 at the psych ward. There was only a roughly 2-week gap since I left, so the place was basically the same but with some new people. The kids there found out how I ended up back in and started calling me Klebold as a nickname. In hindsight, they were probably making fun of me, but I thought it was cool at the time and embraced it. After 2 weeks, I finally got out, but they didn't release me straight back to civilization this time. I was sent to an outpatient program at a different psych ward, where I went from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on weekdays and did the same stuff. After about a month of that, I got homeschooled for the rest of 8th grade and was set to go to a BOCES, B-O-C-E-S, special ed school for 9th grade. To be clear, I'm not SPED. Is that some sort of derogatory term for something? SPED? I don't know if I know that one. I'm sure Aggie has said it before. I'm diagnosed with depression and social anxiety, but I was always a normal enough kid and was never in special ed classes or anything like that. Needless to say, I was dreading the fuck out of going to my new school. Oh, SPED is just special ed? I knew I was in for a rough year after meeting my fellow students, all fake names. One guy, Mark, seemed to be about as autistic as one can get while still being considered functional. He would throw meltdowns in class if things didn't go his way and scream racial slurs at an Asian aide when he got mad. He also looked like a slightly skinnier Biggs, so still pretty fucking big. Another guy named Ed was more normal than Mark, but still annoying. He looked and acted exactly like the annoying blonde kid from the Polar Express. Ed was also kind of a creep towards the girls and would sometimes introduce himself by saying, "My name is Eddie, and I like touching." To be clear, I don't think he was actually dangerous, just fucking weird. Another girl, Lauren, was mostly fine except for the fact that she felt the need to remind everybody that she was a lesbian every 5 minutes. You know, you'll find most LGBT people, especially the T's, they're so uninteresting that their only personality trait is being LGBT. So that's basically all you're going to hear them ever fucking talk about. It is what it is. She also started calling herself by a boy's name for part of the year, so I wouldn't be surprised if she trooned out and is a dude now. I would never use such disgusting language about my transgender brothers and sisters. Disgusting. The one chill... Don't listen to the Smosh review when it comes out. The one chill guy and closest I had to a friend in that place was a kid named Dylan. He also didn't belong there, and we'd play Smash Bros together during lunch. There were plenty more interesting people there, like a dude who heard voices and stereotypical blue hair SJW Tumblr girl, but I don't want to spend too much time on that. Timestamp guy is quoting me saying disgusting. It's about the rhetoric, not about the people. The best way I can describe the environment was that it was like the Krellboyne class from Malcolm in the Middle. Sorry, when people acknowledge the greatest sitcom of all time, I have to clap. But the students weren't smart. I was Malcolm, forced to partake in all of the mindless, embarrassing activities as my peers somehow bought into it. It sounds like it's more like Dewey's special ed class, and you're the one kid who is not special ed. That might be a... You might not like to admit it, but that might be a closer comparison. No identity but your sexual orientation award. I think a lot of them are competing for that gold. From the moment I started attending this new school, I only had one goal in mind: to get out. I made it clear from the start that I wanted to go back to district school and would do whatever I could to make that happen. Initially, it didn't seem like it'd be too hard. Most of the teachers seemed to recognize that I didn't belong there, so fortunately, they didn't treat me like a retard. Even the therapist I was forced to see, because everyone was, recognized that, so we almost never did actual therapy and usually just played Uno for an hour. There was one major obstacle, however: the psychiatrist, Dr. A. She was literally the only person trying to keep me in BOSes. Every meeting with her felt like a battle, trying to gain the upper hand and proving I'm ready to return to normal school. She seemed to have an incorrect preconceived notion of what my mindset was like, and my mission was to prove her wrong. I didn't do well at first. I didn't think to prepare, and she finished each meeting fully intending to keep me in BOSes. Goddamn fucking gnat in my house? Jeez, should I waste 20 minutes fucking clapping this thing to death? Oh, there's nothing I hate more than a fucking bug in my home. Anyway. It's also worth noting that aside from being my arch nemesis and the only obstacle to my goal, Dr. A was just a straight-up unpleasant person. She always seemed condescending and like she was talking down to me. My parents hated her too, especially after she called my mom a bad parent, despite knowing literally nothing about her or her role in me being in BOSes. Even the teachers seemed to dislike her based on my conversations with them. Before getting to how I got out, I just want to stress how fucking miserable it was to go there. There was simultaneously more and less freedom than regular school, and in all the wrong ways. For example, people could, and often would, disrupt class for several minutes and storm out with just a slap on the wrist, but we couldn't even walk to the bathroom without an aide. All of the classes felt dumbed down, and almost every other student was insufferable. However, the worst part was always the ride home. Nothing I've experienced has even come close to the raw shame and humiliation I felt every day as I stepped out of a short bus in front of my house. I'd always keep my head down and run inside as fast as I could, but I knew people saw me sometimes. Nobody ever said anything about it, but they didn't have to. I knew how it looked. Even if it wasn't a short bus, the fact that the trip was 45 minutes each way was bad enough. There was also a behavior sheet we had to get signed by the teacher each class and our parents after school to make sure we behaved in class. Bottom line, this place sucked. Big Perp says, to be clear, I'm not sped. Yeah. You should just go up to everybody as you're getting off the bus. Like, it was a mistake. I'm not supposed to be there. As the year progressed, so did my strategy with Dr. A. I became numb to her shitty personality and was fully focused on proving I'm ready to leave Bose's. I prepared myself for whatever questions she may ask and was all around better composed. After many months of back and forth, it got to a point where she still intended to keep me in Bose's, but was open to me returning to district, and I only had one more meeting to prove myself. This would be the most important event of my short 14-year-old life. I had to escape. I just had to. I truly didn't know what I would do with myself if I failed. So I did the only thing I could. Prepare. For the days leading up to this final meeting, I wrote down every question I could think of she may ask me and full paragraph-long answers for each one. I even rehearsed in the mirror to make sure I looked and sounded professional. Every class was spent thinking of different directions the meeting could take or new questions Dr. A could ask and figuring out how I'd handle each scenario. I couldn't be caught off guard. I had to win. The meeting itself went according to plan. Dr. A didn't ask a single question I wasn't prepared for, and I handled myself well. I was optimistic but didn't get an immediate answer on the result. It wasn't until a few days later when my history teacher told me the results. I was going back to district school. Hey, I was not expecting a happy direction for this story. Dude is prepping like an anime protagonist. I like it. Frank from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia ass story. Or I guess story. Because I guess Zoomers are afraid to say ass. Is that why AHH is a thing? Because like 12-year-olds think that ass is a bad word? I guess I don't understand you Zoomers. I returned to regular school the next year, and walking into a real high school for my first day of 10th grade is still the proudest moment of my life. That's when it really sank in that I won. Against the odds, I fought my ass off and escaped Bose's. The rest of high school wasn't anything special. If people asked where I was, I said I was homeschooled, and if they asked why, I just said it was personal, and nobody pushed farther than that. That being aside, between the short bus in front of my house and my mom being a huge gossiper, I'm sure everyone knew where I really was, and it was just an open secret. Your own mother's gossiping about you going to retard school? No wonder why you tried to mustard bomb your fucking family. Mustard gas. Y'all racist? Let's see. Are they explaining this to me? Goofy ah. Ah means screaming. Back in our day, Jared, I don't think that's what the fucking 12-year-olds are saying on the school bus. I'm 19 now and doing okay. I'm studying math at my local community college and plan to become an actuary. Oh my god. Smartest kid from my school actually became an actuary, so I hope you're good at math and whatever the fuck they do. Planning out like insurance shit. I'm still depressed. Hey, it actually popped up. Good. I'm glad it's not broken. I'll get to that in 1 second, Liquid Dave. I'm still depressed, but I'm better at handling it and haven't been suicidal in years. Hey, shout out, brother. The weird, violent urges are also thankfully gone. I know happy endings aren't common in the depression chamber, but hopefully the story still belongs here. Holy shit, fucking Eggy going off. To finish it off, here's a few miscellaneous funny moments from that year. I got in trouble for watching Mumkey Jones Stops a School Shooting on the school computer during lunch. Hey, that's an anti-school shooting film. The context is important. You should have explained it to them. A girl started crying in class because someone mentioned waterfalls and her favorite anime character died in a waterfall. Can we elaborate in the chat? Does anybody know an anime character who dies in a waterfall? A Holocaust survivor who said he lost a toe to frostbite came as a speaker for an assembly, and some kid asked if he kept the toe. That's not so bad. That's a question I would ask today as an almost 30-year-old man. If I lost a body part, I would fight tooth and nail to keep it. I got all my wisdom teeth pulled out. I still got them in a drawer. I could go show you. They're all fucking bloody and crazy, but you know, it's part of me. I can't throw that away. Oh wait, no, I forgot that this was a Holocaust survivor. That's a long time to keep a toe. Oops. Are you sure this was a real Holocaust survivor? That shit was fucking 80 years ago. What, was he a baby? Anyway. And during an assembly, a few kids started yelling and throwing stuff at a McDonald's during a field trip. Ed got in trouble for making a knife, or self-defense weapon as he called it, in art class, and during an assembly a teacher made a comment about manspreading, prompting one kid to yell out, "We have stuff down there, lady," causing every boy in the audience to burst into applause. And that's the end of the email. Yeah, fuck that, man. Women have no clue. Anyway, Liquid Day for 5 said, "Aw" is a reference to Goofy Aw from Quandale Dingle. I'll believe you, because I don't recognize half the words in the sentence that you wrote. So I'll assume it's true. Homeboy Eggman Rodriguez gave 10 big ones to say shout out to the chat and my fellow chambered depressors. Usually I miss Eggy's donations, and I don't want to make that mistake again. Dieter has joined the measly few. That puts us up to, I think, 110 members. Thank you. And Moist Critical for 10 said, "Why you not finishing JoJo?" I'm going to finish JoJo on my own time. It's just, when we started talking about it on Mumkey and Big Show, the viewership cut in half. So we're trying to stick to things people actually want to listen to. And evidently, that's the Talk to a Podcast. So, sorry to the JoJo heads out there. The people voted with their clicks, and they wanted Talk to a reactions. Jimmy is like 30 or 40. You could just say 30. Don't know why we're adding 10 more years, but okay. Let's see if I can find another story. And I imagine a lot of these are going to be horrible joke stories. It is very rare that we get a genuine good story popping up. Oh yeah, thank you, Burger Skunk. You know what? Since you reminded me that we have to vote on if we hate the author, I will make you a mod. Thank you, sir. Welcome to the moderator team. Eggy in the chat says, "I was looking for this Hawk Tua parody earlier in the Mumkey and Big Show episode of Talk Tua is first page results." Yeah, it's almost certainly because you're subscribed, but Eggy also did inform me that somebody was at an Airbnb and they were watching our videos, and now the front page of the Airbnb's YouTube recommendation page is the anti-Semitic Medea movie, one of my Simian Jimmy videos. So that's fun. Big Perp for $9.99 says, "Please keep the Talk to a reactions coming." Oh, we have to, because somebody paid for it. We just ran out of time last time. Let's vote. Do we hate that author? If you missed that story, I guess vote anyway. Do we hate the sped author who claims he's not a sped? Balls Mahone for 2 says, "Mumkey's anime review number 52, Skibbity Toilet, please." Yeah, I don't want to be the old man angry at the clouds, so maybe it's better if I just don't touch all these Zoomer jokes. Yes, I am Jimmy from Mr. Beast, also known as Mr. Beast. Author seemed pretty chill. Yeah, I liked this guy. He's fine. He had a happy ending. He tried to inspire us, gave us a list of funny things that happened at school. I have no reason to hate him. And it looks like this is a pretty good ratio, 50-50. Only half of you hated him. That might be a record, to be quite honest. Okay, let's move on to another story. I would love to just read donations all day, but we do have what looks like another fake story. This is called Dewberry Goo Wailing. "Hello, monkey. I was raped when I was around 4 or 5. I remember it vividly. It was in my backyard in my tree house. The boy who raped me was an older boy, probably around 12 or 13. We were in the tree house and he told me to drop my pants. I suppose I idolized the boy, so I did, and he did as well. He said we had to compare penis sizes, and whoever had a smaller one would turn around and bend over. Obviously, I was smaller. I was only 4 or 5, so I had to turn around and bend over. The rape itself didn't totally trouble me as I grew up because I didn't really understand it. As I grew to be a little older, I would begin to understand it, and in high school, it really hit me. I lost count of how many times I attempted suicide in high school. I convinced myself I was a waste of air because my parents didn't help me when I was raped. I've always had trouble accepting the way my mom and dad were when I was raped. They didn't come out of the house to stop the boy. They didn't take any care of me after it happened. I guess I thought if my own mom and dad didn't help me, I must be useless, a waste of space. Everybody in the chat says gay, fake. I mean, it has to have happened to somebody, so, you know, fake or not, it's real to someone. In high school, I started a band. The bassist for the band would become my girlfriend. Both of us are victims of sexual harassment and rape. We both have mental issues, and it's so tough. I need attention because mom and dad never gave me any, and she can be cold and distant. I don't even know if we'll last or if we love each other, but we're so bonded together through our trauma that neither of us can let go of each other. I started therapy. It hasn't helped. I have narcissistic personality disorder, depression, low self-esteem, and all the rest. The only thing I like about myself is the fact that I've never raped anyone. The cycle ended with me. Hey, you know what? That's pretty good. Hopefully all of us in the chat can say the same, but I don't know. I see D-Man14567757. I'm not too sure about him. Shout out to first name in chat that I saw. Let's see, where did we leave off? I don't know if it'll last or if we love each other, but we're so bonded together through our trauma that neither of us can let go of each other. I started therapy. It hasn't helped. Okay, yeah, we read all that. The cycle ended with me. My rapist was raped by a much older man. He moved far away. I think if I saw that guy, I would kill him. Wow. As a 20-year-old now, I do construction and I'm close to moving out. I still think about killing myself, and I haven't moved out of this feeling for myself. Sorry for myself thing. It's been 15 years. Sincerely, Dewberry, Daniel Doyle Goo. I guess he wanted me to read all that. Hopefully it's not his real name. Did the guy I accused of being a rapist ever say anything? A rape Ouroboros? Well, at least he's got a sense of humor about my false accusation. Okay. This story sucks ass. If you were paying attention, I don't think that's exactly what happened. You're in the ballpark. Jedi Jared says, I've never raped anyone either, but there's plenty of other things to like about me than just that. Well, let's hear some. Let's hear it. I need some evidence. Should we? Yeah, I don't know if we need to vote if we hate this rape victim. Maybe we could vote, do we think this is real? Do we think this story was real? I have no reason to think it's not. He didn't have like some stupid punchline at the end. You know, just because something horrible and traumatic happens doesn't mean it's fake, but let's see what the people have to say. Aggie says, I sympathize with this traumatized person, do be it, get well soon, tubes. Mingo, if you hate the author, you can advocate for it in the chat. I just don't think they have any hateable qualities right now. Unless they're making up a story for attention, but who cares? It's fucking anonymous on the internet. 60% of us think it was real. That's good enough. Does this guy own a seed and feed? Yeah, I thought it was going to build up to that. He sucks at telling a story. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, here's another short one. And I don't just mean his penis, but it's called How I Horribly Mangled My Penis. In parentheses, not a trans story. So thank you for clarifying. Hopefully this one is fake. So I admit, I'm a bit of a sexual deviant, at least when it comes to holes. Holes always make me horny, and I could be convinced to stick my 4-inch warrior in anything. Understand, I'm not a zoophile, and I've never, ever experimented with animals or bugs before. So anyways, Skip the video and my family suffers every second. What are you even talking about in the chat? Is it... Why is everybody talking about a movie? Is this... Oh, Holes, the movie. Yeah, he's turned on by the film Holes, starring Stanley Yelnats. Anyways, the convenience store is in walking distance to my apartment, and it's a Saturday, so my weed guy will be there. So I'm on my way to see him, and I'm going through a pretty densely forested area, and there's like no houses in this area, at least not near where I'm walking. I notice there's nobody around, and I figure I'll take a small detour to admire the scenery, and that's when I see it. There's a large beehive on one of the trees, and instantly my dick goes hard. And I start thinking, what if I put my penis in that hole in the beehive? Chad, I think this might be a fake story, but it is short enough for us to finish. Let's see, maybe it'll get super realistic by the end. The beehive already looked dead, being that weird desert fabric color, so the beehive was just low enough that I was able to jump up and grab it. Quickly, without thinking, I shoved my 4-inch demon into the beehive. It was amazing. The suction was almost like fucking a real woman. At least that's what I think it'd feel like. The inside was very wet and mushy, maybe because of the larva or honey, but then it struck me how odd that was, and I realized I had made a horrible mistake. But before I could pull out, it was too late. I felt the first sting. It was the most painful thing I've ever felt, but it made me come instantly. This is the real bee movie. This is a real fetish, by the way. Damn, this is hot. This can't be real. Unbelievable. Somebody's fetish is not just the story, but having me read it to people is his fetish. He's probably coming right now as we read this. It made me come instantly. Suddenly, the rest of the hive flew out, and I chucked the beehive and booked it. But it was too late, and in a matter of seconds, I was covered in stings. Defeated, I looked down while pulling my pants back on, and I realized my dick was purple and swollen. I took all the stingers out and decided to go to the convenience store and get the weed anyway. When I got home, I looked at my dick again, and it was even darker purple than before. And I noticed it was leaking what I could only describe as purple Gatorade. And then he sent me a picture of the G-Series Thirst Quencher Grape Gatorade. Might be the saddest story we've had so far. Like SpongeBob's thumb in that one episode. Didn't know I could be this uncomfortable. Unbelievable climax. This is why we have Viagra. Somebody just says, Jesus Christ. Interesting story. I don't think it was that interesting. Do you believe this story? I'm hoping for 100% no. This story sounded familiar to me, but maybe I have not read it on the show. Maybe he did just submit it multiple times and I remember the title. It's called Told a Woman Her Water Bottle Has AIDS. Does anybody recognize this? 50-50 on if we believe the story. Average Simian Jimmy subscriber. He's probably, to be fair, above average compared to all of you. Beating my wife. Okay, this one's new. Nobody's heard of it, so good enough for me. I have sent you 2 stories before. One was schizo OCD ramblings. Another was a fake story about my anime obsession or something, which included a photo of my wrists being slit open, which you said was fake because it had the top of a tattoo visible on my arm. By the way, it's a tattoo of a swastika from the anime Bleach, which makes it easy for feds to locate me. I don't know why I'm honest about specifics. Now, does the Bleach anime have its own stylized swastika that I don't know about? Or is that the only time he's ever encountered it and he thinks it's from Bleach? He admitted it was fake, so why should we believe him? He admitted one of them was fake. Surely this new one is real. Anyway, 2023 was the worst year of my life. I had shaven my head because the SSRI was messing with my hairline, so I just shaved it all off the year prior. The result was having a miserable time in university. I tried to befriend some drug addict schizo who was into Muse or Nirvana or something, and some lesbian anime called Nana. I had helped him along with some other people overcome an overdose while in uni, so he hung out with me for one day out of kindness. The next day, he had realized I had gay intentions with him and was rude to me. The fact that even the biggest fat loser in uni didn't want to hang out with me was so devastating that I decided I wanted to skip that semester. 2023 starts, I'm going to uni again, and I attempt to befriend some clique. My way of befriending them was just being around them and saying nothing. Sometimes that works. Somebody on Big Brother this season almost won the game because she just sat there and said nothing while everybody else talked to her, and they just assumed that she agreed. Thankfully, that bitch got voted out, though. But she made it far. These fucking normal fags are living in another realm of reality, and that includes the way they fucking talk to each other. How am I supposed to talk to them and join their conversations when all I'm thinking about at that moment is the fact that Sonic the Hedgehog did the Alderanian Holocaust, and the Terrorists from Legend of the Galactic Heroes tried to lie about the amount of Aldarians killed. Anyway, I'm just hanging out with them to get weed or something, and I have become impatient, so I'm starting to be rude. Out of nowhere, I make some joke about the girl who's in the clique having AIDS in her water bottle. I said it because the water bottle looked disgusting and I'm autistic. Anyway, later her bull boyfriend, who's like 6'7" and Turkish, comes to uni. I assume she told him to fuck with me in the cafeteria. So meanwhile, we're in the cafeteria, and he starts burning my beard with his lighter, and some other F slurs in the clique get ready to do the same. I start burning my beard myself in order to get them to fuck off. Ooh, it smells like sheep wool in here, stop, a random lady says. Jeez, burning your fucking beard is crazy. Mine is so short, if fucking light this on fire, my chin is just burning. That's nuts. Anyway. I've been hanging around these guys for the entirety of the day, and I'm not gonna give up now. Any person with balls would have gone ahead and beat the shit out of them, but I wanted to get high with them. So they're ready to leave to their fuckhole and smoke some weed or something, and of course they tell me to fuck off and that I can't come with them. Reasonable if you think about it. You don't get to contribute nothing to the group and insult them and not be attractive and at the same time ask to get high with them. Anyway, I was also attracted to a girl in their clique, and I just had found out was a lesbian, but he did not use the word lesbian. So on my way home on the train, I'm thinking, man, my existence seems to be a bother to everyone and myself, isn't it? And I think of jumping in front of the train, but quantum immortality is a thing, and I don't do it in this timeline. I buy some deodorant from a scammer at the train station, drink it a bit, get an Uber home, act like a maniac to my mom, and I end up at a psych ward for 4 days. Since then, I lived in hell for a bit because of the medicine change, had OCD attacks again, and have watched a tremendous amount of anime. Some anime I've watched recently are a ton of gore anime. One I could recommend right now off the top of my head is Gantz. It includes some train damage, which is slightly related to my story. It also has Brazzers level writing. Okay, I'm gonna stop myself right now because you're not reading this for anime recommendations. Inuyashiki, not Inuyasha, Inuyashiki is also good. From the same writer, old man in tidy whities fighting the Yakuza, and a psychopath teenager that does 11 9/11s at the same time in Tokyo. It also has a funny Donald Trump cameo. Another good deconstructivist superhero anime is Zetman, includes Iron Man wannabe shooting his mom. Fire Tripper, woman time travels and fucks his brother, and time travels a bunch of more times when she realizes her brother from ancient Japan is actually her Shota friend from modern Japan. Step Up Marriage, virgin guy and virgin woman marry and fuck. Seriously, Mumkey, there's more to the anime medium than spick balls and Wan's puss? I recommend to you and Eggy that you guys overcome your Shonen brain rot. All the shit you just described sounds like literal fucking brain rot. What are you talking about? You just described like bottom of the barrel fucking slime and trash. Whatever. I can't get offended by this guy. How dare he call One Piece Juan's puss? I'm so angry. Or if you insist on watching Shonen, then I recommend D. Gray Man. Anyway, 2024 grandma died. Mom is a psychopath narcissist. So is sister, currently living in Germany. Also, I have asked my dad to get me a prostitute. I know a certain father who might have done that for you. I'm sick of being a virgin, and I'm off my meds. The end of the road is still dark, but I'm happier now currently than I was a year ago. Improvement? I don't know. Then he links me to his comic book. But I'm not clicking that link. Not one fucking chance. Not a chance. This writer's brain is rotted. Yeah, I hate this author. Finally, we can vote for that again. I'm voting yes, because he insulted One Piece. Do we hate this author? Definitely not clicking his fucking Google Drive link. I don't care if it is his comic. I've heard about his taste in fiction, so I don't need to see what he creates. I don't overstand the author's mental, is what I think you meant to say, Burger Skunk. You did say understand, but... A deodorant drink on the wheel for his honor? That's not a bad idea. Drink, like, Axe body spray. Ooh, yeah, that's bad. Would that kill you? Somebody chat GPT, would that kill you? One Piece slander is gay, but One Piece is also gay. You know, maybe just a few chapters of Impel Down are a little bit gay, but it is my #1 favorite arc in One Piece. Spoiler alert to Eggy, but he'll forget about that by the time we get to it. I don't oversit what's happening. Shonen brain rot exists, though. Hey, you know, that's why I'm taking them 2 or 3 stories at a time. It could be that Yu Yu Hakusho is rotting my brain because I'm not getting much out of it every episode. What about the aid water? I think that was towards the beginning of that story. It's why they started burning his beard. I like One Piece, am I gay? That's a question we all have to answer. I don't think other people can tell you if you're gay. It looks like a good 75% of us hate the author, rightfully so. Fuck that guy and his fake story from that he admitted he wrote last time. Here's a long one. Maybe this will take us a good 40 minutes and take us to the end of the stream. Who knows? It looks like it's real. He put some real work into this one. And let me know if we've read it before, but it looks brand new to me. It's called My Crush Wants to Be a Boy, My Drinking Problem, Loss of Friends, Gay Sex, and Getting Cucked. Does that sound familiar? I feel like we've read stories about I have a crush on somebody who turned trans before, so maybe that's why I think it's familiar. The average American? One Piece is kind of getting mid right now. What are you fucking talking about? We're 2 chapters into Elbaf. What are you are you insane? Okay. If my crush turned to trans, I'd be happy I dodged the bullet. That's fair. That's fair. I did have a crush on Ellen Page for quite a long time in my life. So, you know, I can a little bit relate to what this man might be going through. Let's get to reading. Hello there, Mumkey. My name is Jason, longtime listener, first-time writer. I've been following you since 2017 and have been with you through the years. I have written several drafts but never sent them in because I didn't think I had anything worth writing about. But now I am 19, a freshman in college, and I think I may have been through quite a lot, and I think I'm finally ready to join the depression chamber. Let's begin. September 2023 was my first month of college. I am in community college. I was going to go to a 4-year college, but it was in Harlem, New York City, and after the orientation, I figured that the next and only option I had on my list was a community college close to the beach. It was the only other school that accepted me. I remember riding my bike over the summer to the college and requesting to be transferred there. I did it, and I ended and I attended there that September. September 2023. The first week of college was quite rough. Most of my friends from high school were juniors when I was a senior. So when I entered college, they were seniors in high school. So the majority of the friends I had were either still in high school or they moved away to dorm in colleges out of state. I still texted and called with my friends in the meantime. We hung out a lot over the summer, but when school started back up in September, people got busy and things just didn't really correlate well between all of our schedules. So I began to drift away from them slowly over time. I put friends in quotations because I would later find out the awful truth about them. I was in a new college and I didn't really make any new friends, honestly. I feel like I had enough friends. I had quite a vibrant social life in high school, but in college, things worked a little differently. Everyone was busy. They're wrapped up in their own lives and don't really want to make conversation, let alone take the time to be your friend most of the time. People were nice, and I knew maybe one or two people from high school who I would bump into and make small talk with. But for the first week there, I just kind of sat in the cafeteria chilling out during gaps between my classes. In the library, talking to my friends on the phone, if they even picked up, I didn't know anyone. I had a new world ahead of me, not ready for it. That is, until the second week. I went through heartbreak towards the second week of college. My coworker, who I had a crush on, was a lesbian. She told me at the park late at night after our shift. Afterwards, I just stood there, listened to music, and sobbed. I don't know. You don't need to sob because you have a crush on a lesbian. I mean, maybe I'm being insensitive. I feel like there's worse fucking things that could happen, but... after that, I decided that perhaps I should make some new friends in college. I figured being alone in the library or cafeteria would only make my mental health worse and worse, so I decided to just walk around and find people I could be friends with. And that's what I did. I went to the library and found this girl that was in my first period class. She was sitting there on her phone alone. I don't remember if I went up to try to hit on her or whatever, but I went up to her, introduced myself, and that's when my life changed forever. We became super close within a short amount of time. She told me she had a boyfriend and was trans. She was a boy trapped in a girl's body. I nicknamed him Joe. Joe is Italian and Puerto Rican. He has short, curly brown hair, skinny, and kinda grunge. When he told me he had a boyfriend, I was kind of disappointed that any chance I had of potentially getting anything romantic out of this interaction was thrown out the window. Joe had autism, ADHD, schizophrenia, PTSD, went to rehab, has abusive parents, lives with his grandparents, and has been through quite a lot. So, is it safe to say that this transgender person is mentally ill? With autism and ADHD and schizophrenia and PTSD, not with transgenderism, which is not a mental illness. Anyway. I should be so ashamed of who I am. No, that was me reading the story. Where the fuck did I leave off? God damn it. He's sober and he is studying psychology. Haha, okay. I'm literally reading at that time. We were in the same major. We sat together in our class that we shared together, exchanged numbers, socials, and soon enough we began talking. We would hang out every now and then, and before I knew it, we were hanging out all the time. We got super close, and we already considered each other best friends by the end of September. I should just transition into someone else. Yes. The Halloween incident. We were already very close by this time, hanging out at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, and I got to know more about Joe, his rough past, his struggles, and his outlook on life. He always wanted to help people. He still does. He cares about things that most others wouldn't. We filmed a short movie together on my YouTube channel. While he didn't appear in it, he helped me get the props and stuff and helped me film. He liked my creativity and really supported me through the process. I still hung out with my old friends here and there, but Joe quickly began to hold a bigger presence in my life, which I appreciated because I soon began to learn that the old friends I had were just using me for money and only made fun of me. Joe never asked for money. Do people have friends who ask them for fucking money? Fuck that. That's fucked up. I mean, I don't know. You know, me and my friends will like buy shit for each other casually. I'd never fucking ask somebody to give me money. Jesus. That's terrible. But maybe I'm a bad friend. Were just using me for money and only made fun of me. Joe never asked for money, always paid for himself whenever we hung out, and asked me if I was okay if I ever looked depressed. As someone who had been betrayed left and right, used, abandoned, this really meant a lot to me. I had never had anyone do these things for me, and it was a breath of fresh air from the typical things I was used to. He never judged me for what I wore, for how I acted, or how I would react emotionally to things my other friends or family would shun me for. After our classes, we'd hang out. We'd hang out on days off. We hung out all the time. I had a crush on him, but I never admitted it and tried to keep my romantic feelings hidden. I learned my lesson after the lesbian co-worker, and I knew that it would only lead to heartbreak, so I kept it tucked away inside. It would hurt when he mentioned his BF or anything of that nature, but I had to act like it didn't bother me. Jerry Smith says, I scam all of my friends because I'm a Sigma manipulative sociopath. My friends give me money when I want to get drunk, and I do the same. It's like, yeah, bro. Yeah, you don't, like, ask your friend for a loan. And I assume these people don't even want loans. They just, like, want a free handout. What I'm trying to say is I consider none of you to be my friend because I expect memberships and donations. Hey, you know what Aggie does, though? Aggie will give money to his fans if they ask for it. I always thought that was fucked up. He has a bigger heart than I fucking do. Handouts are the best. Maybe all my friends have just always been poor, so we all knew better than to expect money from each other. A few days before Halloween, Joe mentioned to me of a friend he once had in rehab during the class we shared. He opened up to me and told me that he felt like he never had a connection like that ever, and he even felt like the connection he had with his boyfriend wasn't as deep as the one he had with his very close friend, who he now knows nothing about. Even if he was alive or dead, or if he ever got clean because he was abruptly removed from rehab and sent somewhere else, leading him to never being able to say goodbye to this friend or any of the other people he had a close and deep connection with. He was ushered out by the people in charge, and he could only give one last look at the only people he could ever call his friends. After he opened up to me about that, I felt instantly betrayed. I thought we had built a friendship so far that was deep enough, but when I learned and felt under the impression that I was being proven wrong and he had other close friends and I felt like I was just another one to add to his list of people he was close with, it really bothered me. He still told me he felt like he was meant to meet me and expressed to me that he wanted to hug me. At the time, I just played it cool. Joe soon left school early to spend time with his boyfriend. That was another jab to my heart, or at least that's how I took it. We said goodbye to each other, and I was alone because of that gap in between my classes, left feeling betrayed and like I had lost a friend. I had never really felt this way before. I knew what I was feeling was a bit irrational because at the time we had only really known each other for just over a month, but the connection still felt deeper than that to me, and I just felt like another person in his life. Even though realistically that's what I am. I was affected by this so much I decided to ghost him. Oh man. That'll help their mental state. We made plans to hang out on Halloween, but I ignored him for the next few days leading up to Halloween. Folks, jealousy, envy, there's a reason why it's called a deadly sin. It's not because God will kill you if you do it. It's because it will kill you from the inside out. You gotta, I know he already admitted it was irrational, but man, you really gotta think past these things. Don't let jealousy and whatever the fuck affect you on this deep of a level, because it's only going to lead to more horrible pain, and not just for you, but for the people around you. And Ami says, imagine being gay, LMAO. Bro, mad other people exist. Losers always find it foreign to have multiple friends. Yes. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Big Perp. Yeah, that's the best advice I could possibly give, is just don't be jealous, bro. It's that easy. just don't care. I decided to ditch our plans and go hang out with my friends from high school. On Halloween, I left school in a rush, Ubered myself to Party City, bought some randomish costume, and arranged to meet with my fake friends at the time to go trick-or-treating. I dressed up like Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy because that was my favorite movie and still is. I was told to meet up with my fake friends at the high school I used to go to. I just kind of waited around for well over an hour. I would text my friend Jason asking where he was, to no response. He left me in the dark. Oh, imagine that. I bet getting ghosted by your friend didn't feel very good, did it? I texted almost all my friends from the trick-or-treating group. Trick-or-treating group? Aren't we fucking in college in this story? The fuck are you talking about? And they just told me to wait for Jason. I had some texts from Joe, but I ignored them. Didn't even open them. I wasn't sure if I was going to stop being friends with him at the time or what, but all I knew was I still felt betrayed and didn't want to speak to him. I was kind of angry at him, so I ignored him. Finally, I met with Jason and he made me pay for our meal. God damn it, stop! No, not just be yourself, Mingo. It's almost the opposite. If yourself is a jealous fool, do not be yourself. Be a much better version of you. That's the advice you should take. Anyway. Like he always did. Soon enough, all of our friends were out of school, and we all kind of just stood around talking. Jason left me to go with his girlfriend and told me to meet him somewhere at a specific time. So he meets up so you can buy him dinner, and then he ditches you for his girlfriend. This should be like a murder story. Like, that's how I killed my friend Jason. This was the final straw. But I don't think that's what's gonna happen. The time was hours later, so he left us to go with his girlfriend, and I just stood by the park near my high school chatting up with my friends. I wasn't really having fun. Because I was in college, everyone was still relatively close with one another. My other friends had dressed up as Sesame Street characters and were just running around having fun. Did I miss something in high school? Or when you're a senior in high school, are you supposed to fucking go trick-or-treating in your Sesame Street costume? Does this story take place in like an infantilized dimension I've never been to? The fuck is going on? It doesn't sound like they're at a fucking costume party drinking. It sounds like they're running around the street. I stood by the side and chatted with some old friends. Eventually, I left and walked to the place I was supposed to meet Jason. Free candy is free candy? No! I feel like most people would reject literal adults showing up in costume to trick or treat. They should be rejecting them. Like, sorry, this is for 9-year-olds. Fucking leave. Anyway. I stood there for well over another hour texting him where the fuck he was. I was alone waiting for him so that we could both go to a neighborhood together on the train and meet up with our group. I got no responses and was left in the dark. I stood there in my Halloween costume alone. It was cloudy, kind of chilly, and why is Halloween at the end of October? I remember it was often way too fucking cold outside. Sometimes it would be snowing. We need to, if we're gonna have a holiday where you wear skimpy clothing and go outside all night, can we move that to July? It's way too late in the year. This has been, the old man on 60 Minutes who gives his little rants at the end? That's my rant. That's part of the fun, being fucking cold. Do not show up to my house on October 31 if you're a full-grown man in a big bird suit. Yeah. Okay. Hockey mask Jason coming up. Bad opinion. Whatever. I got nothing but bad opinions. Got no responses and left in the dark. Blah, blah, blah. I was bored listening to music. Is this how I was going to spend my Halloween, I thought. I should have been having fun with Joe or at least enjoying myself with my friends, but no, I was standing around in some costume by myself in an alleyway alone listening to music. I thought of texting Joe and just going to him because I knew that I would actually be doing something and not waiting around for a text back from Jason, who was busy with his girlfriend. My other friend Brandon called me and told me to just come meet him at the neighborhood we were supposed to go trick-or-treating while I waited for Jason. This dude is in college! Literally in college trick-or-treating, dude. You should be handing out the candy to children. But I guess that's a bad opinion, according to somebody. Okay. I'm more upset about that than anything else in this story. I was hesitant because when I was a freshman in college, in the dorms, they had a program where the neighborhood kids went through the college dorms to trick-or-treat. I literally was giving candy to children in my college dorm room. The fuck are you doing? Anyway. I was hesitant because I didn't want to make Jason mad and make him upset that I ditched him at the spot he was going to meet up with me. Yeah, he ditched you, brother. But I had no other choice, so I got on the train and went to them. Met up with Brandon. Soon Jason came to us with his girl, and all of our friends showed up, and we all went trick-or-treating. College students will do anything but get a job for food. Somehow this dude has money. He must have rich parents if his friends have been using him for money for years, because it doesn't sound like he has a job. It was fun, I suppose. I was ignored by Jason, and we all were because he was with his girlfriend. Nobody really paid much attention to me, but I did not want to spend Halloween alone and wanted to at least say to myself that I actually did something for a fun day. We went to a Mexican restaurant, and after that, I left with my other friend, Fernando. Just a coincidence that we suddenly meet Fernando as you're leaving the Mexican restaurant. We traveled back home and just talked the whole way through. I didn't really have fun because it just wasn't what I was expecting. Maybe you felt humiliated about what you were doing. The waiting and standing around wasn't worth it. I should have just hung out with Joe, I thought to myself. Maybe when I got to my house, I called Joe and explained myself. I told him that what he told me about his friend in rehab made me feel sidelined, and he understood. He wasn't mad. He stayed home for Halloween to himself, and I felt bad. He told me that it was all right and he wasn't upset. We talked things out. Apparently, what I did was called splitting, and Joe suspected that I might have borderline personality disorder. Joe had it too, but he had gone through DBT therapy for this and was mostly recovered from it. He wasn't diagnosing me, just suggesting to me that my actions might have something to do with it. DC says if he understood, they are made for each other. Yeah, they're both fucking crazy. Typical Nepo baby behavior. Yeah, that's how he's rich. You have to imagine. Simian Jimmy is the devil. I kind of like that. I'll take that reputation. Jedi Jared says, I'm planning on passing out candy with a poem I wrote and a QR code from buying my books. Don't do that to children, Jared. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Mumkey, you're supposed to wear a bunch of clothes for an elaborate costume on Halloween, aka be dressed warm. Only normie dress skimpy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if all my Halloween costumes as a child were several layers of clothing, but... Joe's sleeping disorder. Towards this time, Joe and I would hang out like we always did, but there were days in which I wouldn't see Joe in school. He had apparently overslept and would text me whenever he woke up. I had to spend time with myself during the gaps between my classes, and it really upset me that I couldn't see my friend. He started missing lots of school because of this. He would sleep for entire days at times. I wouldn't receive texts or calls back, and it worried me, causing me to believe he was ignoring me or even hanging out with someone else. This wasn't true, though. He was oversleeping like crazy. He'd wake up and we'd meet up during the gaps of my class. In order to make up for the classes he missed, he'd come with me into my class since we were studying the same... Oh, thank you, Jolt Kip, for becoming a member of the measly few. He'd come with me into my class since we were studying the same major and even had the same exact teacher. I think you mean professor? Maybe the story is made up. Trick-or-treating in college, calling it a teacher instead of a professor. This might be a 13-year-old making some shit up. The teacher said it was okay for Joe to come to class with... I guess it is a community college, never mind. Oops. The The teacher said it was okay for Joe to come to class with me since it was the same class just at a different time. We'd often do this because Joe would oversleep, but wake up in time to meet with me and come to my evening class. And, Malachi Paul, welcome to the Measly Few. Oh, I made it appear. Oh, it's magic. Joe would oversleep more frequently, missing hangouts at times. He would always wake up and apologize. These episodes of sleeping for days would be a result of stress because of missing so much school. I worried about Joe a lot, worried about him not eating, worried about the guilt and shame he'd feel because of his sleeping problems. It was hard for me to accept sometimes that Joe couldn't hang out on days we were supposed to because he was either oversleeping or trying to catch up with the days he missed while sleeping. Pretty soon he decided it was best to go to a doctor for this issue. However, his parents are literal monsters and would deny him going to the hospital or some kind of doctor for the longest time. Not just for this, but in general, they would prevent him from getting help multiple times throughout his life because they are under the belief that mental health issues aren't real and his dad is a literal sociopath. Introduction to my drinking, loss of friends, and the kiss. December was crazy. I was on winter break and I did not sign up for winter classes, so I basically had 2 months of no school. I would pick up more hours at my job, which is a fast food joint, so you can imagine the constant waking up to deal with customers wanting coffee, and their shit food was starting to really get to me, so I guess this guy does have a job. I was going a little crazy. I barely hang out with my old high school friends anymore because I wasn't enjoying paying for everything and being treated like shit. Joe was always nice to me, and I honestly enjoyed spending time with him more by this point, so I kind of just didn't pay much attention to my old friends anymore. I'd send them memes here and there, call them when I was bored, hang out, but not as often as we used to. He has a job, he lost the NEET vote. Me and Joe kept building more memories, and we had lots of fun crossing lots of things off our bucket list. We watched so many movies at the theater together, went ice skating, traveled to the city, and eventually... Are you sure that this trans friend of yours has a boyfriend? Because you've never met them. You're hanging out with them constantly, and when you're not with them, they're sleeping. Is this like one of those internet boyfriends? 'Cause I don't know if that counts. We decided to watch a stupid kids movie at a nice theater that served meals and alcohol like little cocktails, pina coladas, and wine. It was a bit fancy, so we weren't in danger of getting roofied. We were watching Trolls, and we both decided to order a little pina colada and share it. Are you even 21 yet? I was a little hesitant you better not be fucking 21 and trick-or-treating in your Oscar the Grouch costume, dude. Come on. What is happening here? I don't understand this story. I was a little hesitant because of Joe's past with alcohol and drugs. We both agreed it was good for a one-time thing. We were sharing a little cup of pina colada and figured there would be no harm done. Joe was 21, so he ordered us a pina colada. I barely felt much. I never drank or smoked before or anything like that at the time, so it was new to me and kind of fun to wait and see how my personality would change. Cuckoo Chicken says this dude is mental. Imagine getting roofied during a screening of Trolls. Boring awe story. See, I translated that into Zoomer for you. This shit is creepy. Moral of the story is the West has fallen. Lo and behold, nothing happened other than us getting slightly buzzed. Barely even. Yeah, you fucking had half of a pina colada, dude. The next time we hung out, we decided to try again, but with stronger drinks. We both shared a can of a margarita. Margarita in a can I don't think counts either. Don't you need the rim to be covered in fucking salt? It was pretty big, but we shared it. We both were a little worried that this was becoming a habit for both of us. We had half of a pina colada. The next day, we had half of a margarita. Oh my god, we're alcoholics! We got a problem! I'm over the story, let's move on. Jason, you might have to leave. This is the last story of the day. So if you're done, like, you know, peace, people. It's been fun. Thanks for watching. We're gonna get through this one. It's very intriguing to me just how insane these people are. I'm sorry. Okay, we both shared a can of margarita. It was pretty big, but we shared it. We both were a little worried that this was becoming a habit for both of us, but we decided that since we were together, we would make sure that nothing bad would happen. Joe recovered and knew how to deal with addiction. He assured me that he would make sure nothing went out of control. This was the first time I ever really got drunk, and wow, it was pretty fun. I felt so giggly. I was happy, I felt more free and comfortable with who I was, and best of all, I was with this amazing person, Joe, who I cared for deeply, and we both were just enjoying a movie, having fun in the theater. We both had no idea what was happening in the actual movie, but we didn't care. I mean, it's the Trolls movie. It's probably not too much to follow. I have not seen them myself. Maybe on the next PCP poll. We were enjoying ourselves, and I was so happy. Soon enough, we got out of the theater, and we just chilled outside until our Uber came. We went back to his house, enjoying ourselves more and just laughing and giggling. Nothing happened, but we were a little more touchy with each other. Kind of leaning on each other more and just playing with each other's faces, squishing each other's cheeks and playing with each other's hair. It was nice. As someone who liked him still, I was happy I got to be a little closer physically with Joe. The next day, I looked at my friends' Instagram stories and I realized that they had followed us the entire time we were hanging out. They were spying on us. My old high school friends never liked Joe. They made fun of him, called him gay and stupid and all that. As a previous edgelord, I get it. Ha ha, laugh at someone who's different from the rest of you. I had to tell Joe about the times they had used me for money, bullied me, picked on me, and just overall treated me like shit. Before the movie, I posted our tickets to the movie, so they must have all been hanging out already and headed to where we were. Maybe it's because I don't use any social media as myself, and it's all just promotion for my shitty YouTube videos, but I do not understand the inclination to let everybody know every little fucking thing you do. Do you really need to take a picture of your movie tickets and post them on Instagram? I don't know any way to put this other than, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Stop posting your innocuous fucking bullshit. Nobody would fucking care. That's how you get stalked, you dumb fuck. You post shit that nobody could possibly give a shit about. Jesus fuck. Fucking, I hate social media and the attention whores that it creates. So fucking disgusting. Who gives a shit? Anyway. Apparently they were gonna jump us at the train station, but because we both got into an Uber, they were unable to. They took pictures of us stumbling out of the theater together from across the street. It was insane. I wanted to know why they did this. It really pissed me off that these guys were spying. It's because you posted it on social media, you stupid motherfucker. What are they supposed to do? Ignore it? You wanted everybody to know exactly where you were and exactly what time you were there. You're begging people to show up and bother you. It really pissed me off that these guys were spying on me and my friend when we were both having a great time. I saw the videos they took of themselves laughing at us and it just pissed me off. Yeah. I saw videos, okay. This was close to Christmas Eve, so I called them after I left a Christmas party with my other friends and I needed to know what the fuck was up with that situation. The entire time they were just very condescending, dodged my questions, laughed at me, and once again treated me like shit. I called Jason, the leader of the group, and confronted him. The fucker acted like he just woke up and didn't really answer my questions. Sorry, I'm too sleepy to explain why we stalked you. He hung up angry at me and I was like, I don't even know why I picked up. Fuck off. He was like that. I was baffled that someone was in the wrong for wanting a simple explanation. He texted me saying, that's the last time you talk to me like that. Do it again and watch what's gonna happen. Don't look for me or our other friends no more. trolls, is it Kino? I think we might have to if this author wants to join us and get his trans friend in there as well. I was pissed off. It was Christmas. I was angry. I decided to hell with all of them. I wasn't gonna stand for that shit anymore. Being pushed around and used for my money? Fuck that. I'm blocking all of them. And that I did. First smart thing this dude has done the whole story. I cut all contact with them and I have never spoken to them since. Joe never once told me stay away from them, but he always did advise me that they did not have my best interests at heart and that they weren't real friends to me. But at the end of the day, it was really up to me if I wanted to leave them. I made that choice on my own to leave my old fake friends. I soon realized that I was the punching bag and that I just let them walk all over me. But I wasn't having it anymore. I decided to take a stand for myself and truly respect myself. I left them all on Christmas. Fuck them. Now, something tells me they were not too upset about this loss. TBQH fam. How is this supposed to be depressing? They don't necessarily all have to be about dealing with depression. It's really more about mental illness. And this is very clearly a story about several mentally ill characters. The night of Christmas Eve, Joe's dad came over and apparently freaked out on the whole family. He trashed the house and left Joe in distress. I was on the phone with Joe and we were both scared. Joe was crying, I was crying, the whole thing was just awful. I decided to ask Joe if I could come over on Christmas Day to make him feel better. He agreed. I did not want Joe to be alone. Christmas Day came along and I got up out of bed in the morning and went over to Joe's house. We just sat around. I brought him breakfast because the whole thing caused him to not eat for a while. So we both ate and watched Christmas specials on his laptop. He introduced me to Always Sunny through the Christmas special, and I still love that show to this day. Yeah, that's a good one. We decided to go out into the city and spend the day together. Later on, we went and watched a movie at a nice theater in the city. We bought some booze again, and this is when everything between us changed. When we were already kinda drunk, Joe confessed to me that he liked me romantically and he found me more affectionate than his current boyfriend. I took it as Joe being drunk, but Joe had alluded to it subtly when sober. I was so happy. I then told Joe that I liked him too, and we both hugged each other. Joe was taken, so we could not kiss. So I guess just emotional cheating is fine. At that point, I think, it's a little too late. But fuck it. Joe was taken, so we could not kiss, but we did everything else we could do. What do you mean everything else we could do? Like, what is the criteria here? Who is judging you? It's not like you're doing fucking homework and that there's a rubric to life. Like, you're clearly doing something that is a betrayal already. Hugged, cuddled, told each other how much we meant to each other, rubbed noses. This is like such performative garbage. Joe was wearing a scarf, so he kissed me with little pecks through it. When we got into the Uber to go back home, I laid on my head on his legs while he was seated, and we both kissed through his scarf. That poor fucking Uber driver, jeez. Save the PDA for when you're not in a vehicle with a stranger. When we got home, we watched more It's Always Sunny and just cuddled. We were pretty much sober by this point, and we began talking seriously about where we could go from here. Joe felt guilt over telling me his feelings. He only told me because he didn't think I liked him back, and he didn't think it would actually lead anywhere, and he felt like an asshole for telling me this while he still had a boyfriend. He didn't want to break up with his current boyfriend because he didn't have it in him to break his heart, and his last partner left him, and he didn't want to harm himself because of it. He didn't want him to harm himself because of it, among other things. And yeah, I'm fully aware this whole thing is fucked and has a lot of contradictory factors in it, yeah? Like, for one, if you're not really happy in the relationship you're in, why stay? If you supposedly really liked me romantically, then you would leave them and be with me. Secondly, I know Joe is a good person and has made mistakes, but you are pretty much cheating on your boyfriend with me, emotionally and physically, by touching and cuddling and kissing me, even if it was through a mask. If Joe is going to cheat on his boyfriend with me, then chances are I'm also going to get cheated on too. Nothing would make me more happy and fulfilled to be in a relationship with Joe, but I've come to accept that this is as far as it could ever go. I think we both are really good friends and we have made an impact on each other's lives, and Joe's boyfriend is super lucky to be dating this amazing person who wants nothing but to help others and spread love and joy. But I am more likely to be walking on the moon in a shirt and sweatpants than to have that in my life. I hate to say it, but I think it's just not in the cards for someone like me. It will probably never happen as much as I want it to. Oh my god, the next heading is incredible, but we're not there yet. I've never met Joe's boyfriend. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know the sound of his voice, and I want to keep it that way for as long as I can. I always felt some form of jealousy towards him since I don't think he's really treating him right. But again, I don't know him, and I don't know their relationship, so that's really up to them. Since then, we agreed to stay friends because we couldn't exactly date under the circumstances Joe was under. He said he wanted things to end naturally and that he was sure we would be able to be happy together one day. Whatever the fuck that meant. The next heading, in big, bold, underlined text. Gay sex. Now, I just want to be clear. If this is a story of you putting your penis into your trans friend's vagina, personally, I would not call that gay sex. I would call that normal sex. But let's continue. January rolled around and I had started to drink on my own. I had friends, or plugs, who would be willing to buy me alcohol. I can't since I'm 19, so I would just find ways to get it, which were surprisingly easy. In order to cope with the weight of not being able to date Joe and my depression, I turned to drinking and having sex with people from Tinder and all those dating apps. Don't we have a rule you can't be in the depression chamber if you can get laid on a dating app? You don't deserve to be here. Every single person in chat right now is bone dry and has been for about 20 years. How dare you? How dare you? I first only went for women, but I just changed it to literally men and women because of the lack of responses. Okay, never mind. Getting laid with dudes on a dating app is the easiest thing anybody could ever possibly do. And somehow Florian still fails, but I don't know what this says about anything, but the second I switched to men, I got instant matches and convos. That's because dating apps are 80% men. That's why. You have less competition. They all just want to meet and fuck. It's the easiest thing you could ever do. Oh, God. Oh, God. I lost my virginity with a tall black man. We met at a coffee shop near his house. We both went into it with the intention of having sex, so I just met with him first to make sure he wouldn't kidnap me or anything. Bro was 25. I look younger than I did, and he complimented my looks the whole time. He bought me some booze at my request. I got drunk at his house, and he smoked weed to get himself more in the mood. Wow, I need this weed to work up my desire to fuck you. We both had sex, but he was getting pissed off at the fact that I was getting progressively more drunk, and he found it annoying that I wasn't really in the moment as he was. He found me to be more aggressive and hostile when I got drunk. I would keep joking at him roofying me or kidnapping me. These jokes got him mad, and so eventually when I tried giving him a head, he said, "Ow," because my teeth got in the way. Ah, why are we reading this? I don't like it anymore. It was super awkward towards the end because he was disappointed at the fact that I didn't want to do anything too crazy. We mostly did oral and blowjobs I was receiving most of the time since I could barely even really stand. This is how you lost your virginity? You got drunk and, by certain definitions, raped by this black man who was complimenting how young you look? Did you guys watch Thug Hunters? Is this the plot of that film? Now I'm the one getting depressed. That's why this is a depression chamber. He kicked me out, and so I got my things and left. I Ubered to Joe's afterward and told him what happened. He was there to comfort me about what happened. I showed up drunk, and it was clear to Joe that I was starting to develop an issue with alcohol. We had stopped drinking together, and Joe stopped for his own sake, too. After a Four Loko incident, what year does this take place in? Basically, he was passed out on the street, throwing up while I was also drunk. It was scary. I thought I would have to take Joe to the hospital. His eyes were rolling back and forth. Several cars on the street stopped to look for a few seconds and then drove away. Luckily, a neighbor saw and helped me carry Joe to his house. Joe lives in the basement of his grandparents' house, so he kind of has his own place. So we went to the basement, and I helped get Joe to the bed. There were security cameras outside of Joe's house because his dad is a control freak. I got so scared because I knew his dad must have seen us carry him into the house, but at this point I figured that whatever consequences came after this was miles better than me trying to get Joe to wake up on the street late at night. I put Joe on the bed and I stayed with him the whole night to make sure he was okay. He threw up a few times, but I was happy to know he was alive. We slept in each other's arms and I stayed the night because I wanted to make sure he was okay. The whole memory was awful and it led to us agreeing to not drink again. Our problem got bad quick, and this is what caused us to stop drinking. Sober September, baby. Whatever inspires you, hey, whatever works. Our problem got bad enough, and this is what caused us to stop drinking. Joe didn't drink after this, but I did. Soon enough, I started drinking alone in my room, paying people, having sex with men from Tinder. The second time I did it was a bit better. Same shit happened, except the guy did not get mad at me and enjoyed my time there. If I recall, he was getting mad because you were joking that this much older man was going to kidnap you, which I can imagine is a mood ruiner. So maybe this guy didn't get mad because you didn't say it. Maybe he liked that you were saying that. I don't want to know. He was this weird Asian man who wore nails, lipstick, glittery clothes, and heels. So he was a twink like me. He lived in the hood though, so walking home drunk and getting lost with my phone being dead at night was pretty scary. There were some girls I met up with and drank with, but we mostly just kissed and made out. No sex. Honestly though, sex really isn't that good, guys. Anyways, I got a girl pretty drunk, so I Ubered her home. I got scared that I did something really bad, but she showed up home just fine. I felt guilty for that. We made out and stuff, but I still feel like I took advantage of her and sent her home. A black dude got you drunk and had you slobbering on his knob, dude, and you were fucking biting on it, evidently. You don't feel bad for yourself? Joe got worried about my drinking. He urged me to go to AA meetings, so I did. Addiction. Joe told me smoking cigarettes would help curb the cravings. It took a bit for me to really understand how to smoke. Instead of breathing the nicotine into my lungs, I'd just suck on a cigarette, then blow it out without inhaling anything, which defeats the whole purpose of the entire thing. Unless you're smoking cigars, evidently. Am I the only one with lungs strong enough to inhale a cigar? Probably caused 5 years worth of damage immediately, but... if you're not supposed to inhale a cigar, what's even the point? Just to have a big cock hanging out of your mouth that tastes good? Stupid. Soon enough, I learned how to become a smoker. I'd stash spray deodorant and always make sure I had a gum at hand. I would pack alcohol in my bag and dispose of the cans in the morning. Keep the window open so the smell would go outside. I'd always be anxious about my parents finding out. Soon I'd be going to school drunk. Okay. Showing up to classes and... What are you, Aggie, in middle school? Shout out Aggie. He does lots of sucking and blowing. Addiction, my first cigarette. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Sometimes a cigar is a big brown dick. I mean, evidently that's the only use, is to make it look like you got a big dick in your mouth. Cigars are big cigs. Feel gay smoking them. Legit the most homo way to do anything. And Aggie says so true, yeah. I'm sure we've told, or I'm sure Aggie many times has told stories of getting drunk in middle school. Maybe we should do a reboot for Egg Wars, and he needs a second guy there to help him elaborate on the stories. Where are we? Soon I'd be going to school drunk, showing up to classes not knowing a single thing they were talking about. My first class was at like 10:30 a.m., so I'd be wasted at 9 a.m. And instead of, 9 a.m. is pretty early to start drinking, to be honest. Because it must be the first thing you do when you get out of bed. And instead of eating lunch between classes, I'd drink more booze. Joe had to drop out because of his sleeping disorder and began to see doctors who ran MRI scans and sent him home with kits to monitor his sleep to see what was up. I'd go into the bathroom of my college and pour alcohol into a thermos so I could casually chug it in class without turning heads. I would imagine at least 20% of all college students, at least once, brought some sort of thermos or water bottle full of booze to class. I mean, it's college, you know? I did not personally, but I would imagine at least 20% of people have. I stopped. Oh, I'd go into the bathroom. Yeah, okay. Though I'm sure the people sitting next to me could smell it. I stopped for some time, going as far as 20 plus days without drinking. Hey, I'm 22 days in myself. I watched Rusty's videos to help. I'm glad Rusty had some positive effect on the world before he died. I would relapse again after that, but after a meeting with my therapist over the fear of me dying from withdrawals, I stopped for about a month. It was pretty good. I bought vapes during this time in order to help deter my cravings. It was pretty dangerous since this made smoking all the more convenient for me. I wouldn't have to step outside or would I need to worry about the smell. So I could do it many times whenever I wanted, wherever I wanted. Weed makes me uber paranoid, and I was panicking in my room high while on the phone with Joe going crazy. I've developed interests in trying other things, but most likely best to draw the line at alcohol and nicotine. Conclusion. Final paragraph. And now I'm here, still drinking here and there just to make myself go to sleep and so I don't have to be bored out of my mind. I can just black out and wake up early the next day feeling energized, which is an odd effect hangovers have on me. Hope I don't get caught with anything, and I hope to be sober soon. Just not right now. That's not a great headspace. Like, yeah, I can sober up anytime I want. Just not today. Today's the best day to start. Me and Joe are still good friends, and we hang out whenever we can, building more memories and hopefully being able to see each other grow into the people we hope to be. Thanks for reading. Your fan, Jason. Not really a conclusive story there. If you're still good friends with Joe, honestly, I'd say pursue that. Fuck Joe's boyfriend. It's probably not even real. If this has been your best friend for years, you spend all your time together, you've never heard this dude's voice, never seen a picture. Either this dude doesn't exist or this is a soccer goalie who's not very good at stopping you from scoring, if you know what I'm saying. So fuck that. You only get to live once. Steal the girl that you want, dude. I'm dead serious. Just fucking steal her. Fuck that guy. Kill him if you have to. I don't care. I think you and Joe are a match made in heaven, and you deserve each other. And I'm being dead serious. Yeah, don't fuck Joe's boyfriend. Fuck him over, but don't fuck him. That's good. Get in Joe's box. BF is probably only in Joe's dreams. Being gay sounds confusing. Yes. A crazy match made in heaven. Let's do we hate this author? I'm kind of 50-50 myself. I don't know if I hate them or pity them. Maybe both. How is this not an extremely long Joe Mama joke? This might be the most hated author of the night. Or I guess of the day, technically. 78% yes so far. Wasted our time? I disagree, DV. You must have a different understanding of what this show is and what it's supposed to be. These are the stories I do the show for. people who are severely mentally ill and just make strange, horrible choices, and then they tell us all about them. I would take 5 more stories like this over the literal fake 2-paragraph stories, or somebody saying I got fucked in my treehouse when I was 5. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here for this shit. This insane shit. This makes me happy I didn't send my story in. Neckbeard Necromancer, I can't imagine anything strange in your life. You seem so wholesome to me. Hate the author, story convincing enough, but not convincing enough. Okay. The black guy thing was funny. Yeah, it sure fucking was. I mean, we've got people who are almost 20 trick-or-treating in Sesame Street costumes, going to see the Trolls movie on a date with your trans boy/girlfriend. I don't even know what's going on there. Getting drunk off of half of a pina colada. Yeah. So that's going to be it for this depression chamber. We've gone almost a good 100 minutes here. Unless you guys want to hear a story called The Corn Pizza Got to Me. Okay, this one is... I mean, it looks like it's from somebody named Derek Monkey Man, but they claim to be named Florian Himsel. It says, I was hungry and tired after a day of increasing the rent price for single mothers. I ordered corn pizza from my local Italian restaurant. After it arrived at my $60 million mansion, I scarfed it down as I could. I then began chalking, and I collapsed on the ground. I thought I would go to heaven and have 72 sugar babies, but I went to hell instead. Fuck you, Mumkey, for not saving me. It's hot in here, and I'm about to be raped by a pagan forest spirit named Ling Long. Florian Himsel, sent from my iPhone. Okay, do we hate this author? That's important to know. We don't need to ask, do we think the story was real? Because we all know it was. Do we hate this author? Banterman, we do not hate this author. I'm in tears. Ling Long sounds familiar. Where have you been, Jared? 50-50 split. I mean, the literal author of this email I do not hate. Does that answer the question? Truly a Himsel victory. 2 more hours? I don't know about that. We've gone almost 2 hours. Kino do be it. Eggy, after this stream, I'm going to hop in the shower so I can get nice and fresh and clean. We can hit up that Sam's Club. You know, this is social media. Got to tell everybody exactly where I'm going to be at any given time. And then it's Big Brother night, folks. Are you guys excited? New episode of Big Brother on. I just know I am. Ling Long is a type of tire. Have I achieved twink death? I did hit 140 pounds on the scale. So I think technically, yes, I am a twink. But you're asking if my twinkiness is dead? No, I think it's emerging in a whole new era. I don't think Sam's Club has any Pokemon Go stops. It's like a desert over there. What did I think of the Survivor episode? I'm very glad that the guy from Pod Save America, who was like, oh, I'm a famous podcaster, and his whole tribe said, I don't know what that is. Like, they had no clue, and then they voted him out first. So the celebrity, extreme liberal, Obama speech writing celebrity, got voted off immediately. That felt pretty good. I'm in the final stages of twink death. That's fine. We can keep track of that throughout the depression chambers. I don't know if I'll be back with this 1 week from now, but maybe this is better as an every other week kind of show. If you could not access the last episode from 2 weeks ago, maybe it's because it got age restricted, which means it was an especially good episode. So I'd say hurry up and turn old enough to click on it, because you're missing out. It was a good one. And only 52% of us hated the corn pizza author. Good to know. Okay, that is it for me. I'm gonna make sure I did not miss any donations. I'm almost positive I did not, but I would hate to leave somebody hanging. Okay, we're good. We're good. Everybody, thanks for watching. We had over 200 concurrent viewers almost the whole time. I love to see it. Post comments. I do read all the comments down below after the stream ends. So if you're a VOD watcher, shout out. Let it be known. Thank you for the donations. Thank you to all the new members of the Measly Few. I think we hit 111 during this stream. And I'm getting the hell out of here. Peace, people.